Hey, welcome to another live broadcast with your coach, Santos Jr. out of Stockton, California. This is your solution. We've had some technical difficulties, so bear with me. It's going to be bareback. We're going to have a good time, and you're going to walk away with something that's going to be applicable and actionable. So we've got 30 to 45 minutes of mind optimization and spirit recalibration. Stick with me. This is the number one community. You're going to find a solution here, and you're going to walk away with actionable, attainable education. This is episode number 176. As I said, we're going to be here for about 30 to 45 minutes. It's going to go by very quickly. I am your host, and we are going to take on the topic today of thrive. Actually, what it means. What does it mean to thrive? Did I get it right here? Episode number 176. What's it mean to thrive today? What's it mean to thrive? What's it mean to you to thrive today in the middle of these difficult situations that we're living in, whether it's in the world or at home? We've got all kinds of challenges facing you and I. And the question I must ask you and I is, are you thriving? And what is your thrive? Let's get started. I want to welcome Mark. Carnalito, I'm doing super fantastic, terrific, and over the top. Shout out to Facebook, shout out to Twitter. Looks like we're doing Twitter. We're not doing Facebook or LinkedIn. Okay, that's fine. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Jim's going to be on us. It looks like Coach Jim is going to be with us here in a little bit. We're going to talk about thriving. What does that mean? I got something I want to share with you here. Jim, welcome. Good to see you. I'm going to be putting up the link. And if you want to come on the camera, if you've got the heart, okay, listen. I don't want you to come on the camera if you don't have the heart. No, I'm just joking. Because I don't want you to puke or anything like that or get sick in front of the camera. That wouldn't be a good thing. No, I'm just joking. Come on the camera. Share your story. Open up to the community. See how you can help all of us. By the way, gambling is a lie. Gambling is a lie. All right. Let me see. What else? What else did I need to say? Oh, yeah, I got to say this. What's my new mission is? My new mission is snatch 1 million souls out of the fire. That's my mission. A million souls out of the fire of Death Valley gambling. Will I see all these millions of folks? Probably not. Nevertheless, that's what I want to do, is touch 1 million people. Touch 1 million people somehow. All right, let me turn this down so we can get this show on the road. I'm excited to be here, and I am going to walk away with something from this broadcast. I am going to walk away with something from this broadcast. And so are you. So are you. Gabino, welcome. Hey, welcome. Mark Cameroon says, waiting for the link. He wants to come on. We're going to bring you on in just a minute, brother. Hold on. And Coach Jim is going to be coming on. Gabino says, hello, Santos. DE, let me see, my boy. You're living gamble free. Yeah, gamble free, man. This is the permanent no gambling zone. We're talking about thriving. Gambling's a lie, by the way. How are you going to thrive if you're gambling your money away? How are you going to thrive if you have no internal peace? How are you going to thrive if you're not exercising your patience? If you're not exercising I'm not talking about going to the casino and exercising your patience there. You got to exercise your patience in the casino, right? You pushing the button. I used to be the handle. But it's a bad formulation there, man. You don't want that environment, man. You got to get out of there, right? Got to get out of the trauma. Got to get out of that addiction. If you have a question, by the way, please ask. We have a proverb, and we have a proverb I'm going to be reading here. If you have a question, I'm going to be putting up the lead. Santos, I don't gamble anymore. Thank you. I'm excited to have you here, man. Like Santos, I don't gamble anymore, almost a year, but I still struggle with drinking. Yeah, I struggled with drinking a little bit too. And again, why do we struggle? We're not thriving, right? We're not thriving in that area. Why not? Why not? Are we looking at the wall of shame? Are we focused on the wall, right? Are you focused on the wall of shame or are you focusing on the wall of fame? Well, Santos, what's the difference? One will make you thrive, the other one will make you dive. What are your what is the wall of fame? Your accomplishments, what you've done recently, breakthroughs that you might have had, whether they're little or they're big. That's your wall of fame. And that's where your focus must needs be. I'm going to say it again and I'm going to say it loud. And I hope this goes through the airwaves. I hope it reverberates and it breaks windows and it crashes into buildings. Gambling is a lie. Any form. Cards, fards, bots, lots, the roulette, the no fret, the crap, the slaps, even betting on a rooster. Who would want to watch a rooster with a sharp blade killing another rooster? People pay money for that kind of stuff. It's weird. We're full of gore, aren't we? All right, got to get back to so thriving. Let me go ahead and open up the camera here. Thriving has to do with your finances. It has to do with your life organization. It has to do with healthy relations. It has to do with character development. And it also has to do with zero guarantees because there are no guarantees in life, right? Just because you invest $200,000 into a business doesn't mean that your business is going to survive or thrive. There are no guarantees. So therefore, don't do anything. Just sit back, kick back and just wait for things to happen. Santos perished that thought. That's not a good one. That's right. We must be, right? The body in motion stays in motion. Your body in motion stays in motion. But you got to make sure that you have the good motion, not bad potion. All right. So I'm glad that you're here. You got to figure this thing out, brother. If you've overcome gambling, I can guarantee you that you can overcome alcohol. It might be a little bit more difficult, just like it was me. I overcame alcohol in my life before gambling, by the way. I used to be a heavy drinker also. Uh, in fact, one day the Navy sent me to the psychiatric ward for 3 days for an evaluation. I was 22 years of age. They said, recruit Roland, you need to stop drinking because you're going to end up with cirrhosis of the liver very quickly in life. That's our warning to you. Now get out of here, go back to the ship and do your job. That's exactly what happened. 3 days, I got thrown into the insane, well, it wasn't an insane asylum, but it was a psychiatric ward. Oakno, California. I still remember there, the Navy hospital there in Oakno, right here near Castro Valley. Anyhow, Carlito, welcome. Let me see. I want to make sure that I get you guys here. What I learned that waking up early and going to the gym or even taking a jog around the block puts you in a high vibration and happy mood. Just walking. Talking about thriving. Good idea right there. Let me see. Drinking is so hard to quit. Well, if you believe that it's hard, it's going to be hard. You have to smooth out the rough edges, whatever it takes in order for you to win at this game or thrive, right? Since we are talking about thriving. Alcoholism can be defeated and it will be defeated. It will be defeated. It's just a matter of time. And it's a matter of the decision and what you do to back up that decision. But I'm glad you're here, and I believe this community will also help you. So stay in touch. Stay in touch and change the way you speak to yourself. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be bold here tonight for a little bit. When you keep repeating to yourself the same language, like, for instance, I'm going to use Gabino as an example, not you, but I'm using your language. Drinking is so hard. Imagine if you heard that all the time. Drinking is so hard. Drinking is so hard. Does that remind you of something? Drinking is so hard. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. The opposite of that one is also true. The opposite is also true. Drinking is so hard to quit, brother. Why even try? You know what I mean? It's hard, man. It's a waste of time, man. I tried last year. I tried 3 times. I tried 5 times. It's hard, man. It's hard. It's just hard to quit, man. I can't figure it out. I don't know what to do, man. I just can't do it. And this is what we do to ourselves. This is exactly what we do to ourselves. Instead of changing the way we speak, it's an addition to thriving. Now you didn't quit yet, but you're working on it. Man, yeah, I've got this gambling issue, but you know what? I overcame gambling. I set some initial steps, I did some micro steps, and I overcame gambling. I'm wondering if I can overcome alcohol. What's my first step? Man, this isn't so hard after all. There's a plan. You got to proceed, you got to take action. But when you say drinking is so hard, what is the word hard, right? The word hard can be like cement. It can be a piece of wood. A piece of wood is hard. A bone, right? You smack somebody with a piece of bone upside the head, you can kill somebody. That's hard. When we say hard, it just makes it hard. When we say it's doable, it's actionable, we begin to change the way we word, the way we speak to ourselves. I don't know, maybe this program is going to be more about self-talk tonight. What happens? Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. I hope somebody's taking notes on this broadcast tonight, because you will walk away with something for tomorrow, for tonight, for later on. The next time you get a drink, here, play this game, right? The next time the bottle spirit shows up, something usually causes this thing, right, to happen, just like gambling. The next time the bottle spirit shows up, have a conversation with it. Just talk to it. If you give in, well, you give in, but at least you started a conversation. And the more that you do this conversation, it's just going to put you in a state of mind of thinking. So the next time you get tempted to drink, right, you're in a state of thinking, I don't think I really want to go there tonight. I don't think I want to do that this morning. Again, your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Hear me out. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. That's why we need this community. That's why we need this podcast. You need it as well as I do. By the way, this is episode number 176, and we are talking about thriving. Thriving. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to put the link here, the link, and we're going to invite Jim. Come on. Jim's always got some good insights, great insights. Businessman Jim, copy. And let me see. Keith, welcome. Let me see. If you want to come on the camera, listen, we can speak one at a time. If you want to come on the camera, come on, man. Face your fears. Start building that wall of fame. The more that you face your fears and you become a part of this community, the more accountable you become. Oh, okay. Now I know why you're pushing me to be here. Now I know why you're pushing me to grab a pen and a piece of paper, Santos, because you want me to be accountable, huh? Now I know your motive. Yeah. Glad you're getting it. Yes, I want you to be accountable. You must want to be accountable for you. We need to believe in ourselves. Yeah. Cabino says, I have 2 DUIs. Well, you're on your, if you keep again, your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. The opposite of that is true. If you keep focusing on your wall of shame, you're going to ruin your name, right? It's just going to make you lame. And you're not going to be the same. You're not going to prosper. You're not going to thrive. Like I said earlier, you will take a dive. And it's your choice. Really, we've been so bombarded with all kinds of garbage and different things that we've forgotten we have choices. But we're going to have to fight today more than ever, right? Is it? Is it true? I got this proverb I want to read. Is it easier to work on Thrive today, or was it easier to work on it in the past? Is it easier today to work on Thrive, or was it easier in the past? Either way, it has to be done, right? All right, so we've got, let me see, Jim's going to be coming on. Let me see who else. Who else was on here? Yeah, good evening, Keith. Let me see. Carlito, I am officially 3 months gambling free. Let me get what I learned at waking up early and going to the gym or even walking. Yes, most definitely. Okay, at the stream. Hey, we get to meet some folks today. Shout out to and here, let me get this covered here. Somebody's microphone needs to be muted right now. Let me get this covered. Oh fuck, what's it doing? Okay. Let me see. Carlito, I can add you to the screen. Or Cooley. Actually, I'm getting mixed up here. I can add you to the screen, but I think you're echoing. There we go. There we go.
I don't know why it's echoing.
All right, we got it. I'm going to give you the floor in a minute, but I want to read this comment here from our guest here. Let me see here. Show. I'm officially a 3-month gambling free after 90 days. Bam! Because gambling is a very big lie. That's right.
That's pretty good.
That's right. You guys want to introduce yourselves? We got Coach Jim there in the corner. Welcome, Jim. All the way from Tucson, Arizona. It's pretty far. I'm in California. Where are you guys at here?
Hey guys, we're from Toronto, Canada. I've been watching your show for a while. I brought a friend today.
Right on.
You know, we've struggled with gambling since we're very young. You know, I bought your book, Santos. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your advice, man. You've Jim too. You guys are, you know, you give a lot of good advice, and it's excellent, man.
So we're working on it. Well, we appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So we're talking about Thrive. You know, that's the subject. Some people are intimidated by that word, Thrive, because it is an action word, right? It's a word that kind of sets us on edge a little bit if we're not careful. So how have you been doing this?
Honestly, you keep preaching about gambling being a lie, man, and I've gone through it for so long. I'm so fed up with the amount I've lost. I just realized it's come to a head, man. Enough's enough. I mean, I've been clean for 7 months out of card rooms, you know, sports betting, casinos, stocks, crypto. Since October of 2020, I've signed myself out of live casinos. I haven't been to any of them, and I just focus on my career now and work, man. And I just, you know, I've set long-term, short-term goals, and you know, I journal, I listen to what you're saying, and I work toward them, man. And you know, one day at a time, right? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
little by little.
Yeah, man, poquito, poquito, you know.
Yeah, it's just little by little, and once you get that freedom in your head, you get a little bit of taste of that freedom. You realize, man, I don't need this shithole.
Yeah, right on, man. That's true. Yeah,
you know, I mean, it is. You got to admit, it is fun. Gambling is fun.
It was at one time in my life, Santos, but you know, not anymore, man. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's lost its flavor.
It has, man. It has.
Yeah, it doesn't smell good. It used to have a fragrance, like, you know, because not anymore. It's kind of stinks.
Yeah, totally, man. Big time.
That is good. So you guys are in Canada?
Yeah, Toronto, man. Yeah. We're in
right
Canada.
On. And welcome. I appreciate you being there.
Yeah,
my background.
Mario. Fiore, yeah.
What, Mario?
Fiore.
All right, man. Good to see you, man. Like the color purple.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim, what's happening, man? What can you share with us tonight? We're talking about Thrive, and I was going to do something here. I wanted to bring in, and if you guys want to share a little bit more, you can share it. Just let me know. But I want to give Jim some time here to share a little bit.
Sorry to interrupt, Santos. So am I echoing? Because I have both screens open. I opened your link.
No, you're good.
Yeah? Okay.
You're good. Let me see if I can. The layout. No, the layout doesn't change. It stays. it stays. I guess it's best like that for now. I'm going to bring on the screen in a little bit. Jim, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome. What's happening, man?
Yes. So you're talking about thriving, right? Okay. So when you talk about thriving, I think about like a plant, right? When you're planting something, I don't know, a vegetable garden or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want your plants to thrive, and you ask yourself, well, there are certain conditions that make your plants thrive, correct? I mean, there's certain intentional things that you have to do, right? Water, good soil, right? Sun, temperature, all that kind of stuff, right?
All of
Keep
the
the
things that
heat
we
down.
need.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, if you're going to thrive, it's an intentional thing. You just don't like cross your fingers, right? You don't like hope, that you're going to thrive.
Make it happen.
It's something that you need to focus on, something that you need to plan out, something that you need to envision, right?
Yeah. It it needs to be intentional.
Hmm. Right.
So the person that's going through trauma, the person that's going through an addiction or some horrible experience, that person has to be um, taking action. He or she can't be static. Is that what you're saying? There has to be action steps. Is that what you're getting at, Jim?
Yeah. I mean, like with Mark, I mean, like you said that you stopped gambling, you stopped all that kind of stuff.
I have, Jim.
Was
Yeah,
it
yeah.
7 months ago, 9 months ago? Is that right?
March 7th was the last time I entered a card room, buddy. I lost $1,800, and I was just fed up with the bad beats. And honestly, at the end of the day, I felt guilty taking money from people, man. It was like, you're sitting there amongst like brothers and sisters, you don't know what that person's going through. You're taking somebody's rent money. It's just enough's enough, man. I
Yeah.
felt really
Yeah.
down doing it. That's just not me, man.
Brings
Let's
out the evil spirit in you. That's
Yeah,
what it
man,
is.
it
It
does.
brings out the evil in you.
you can kind of think about, all right, so you change these circumstances, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it seems like I bet that you're attracting a lot more positive things into your life, correct?
I feel
You know,
better. Yeah, totally, man.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. I mean, when you start doing that, it starts making you think, wow, I changed this. Wow, I noticed something's better in my life. Well, let me try to refine this. Let me try to improve. What else can I improve? Right?
absolutely.
Let me
Yeah.
get out of this stupid stock market because even Warren Buffett says it's just gambling. That the stock market, cryptocurrency, all that nonsense,
Mhm.
is all you know gambling because you're just trying to figure out what the Federal Reserve and the central banks are going to go ahead and do. It has nothing to do with like research. It's just what the central banks are going to do. It's like that's gambling right there. If you don't know what you're doing.
It's always yeah, that society's so like, get rich quick today. No, nobody wants to put in the time or the effort or the work anymore, right? I mean, true wealth is built by people going to work, right? And creating, generating real wealth, not by, collecting stimulus checks or,
See, and those kinds of ideas you're attracting.
sure you are.
And
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have those kinds of good ideas, you start believing in them, you start acting on them. Then, that thriving starts happening, right? All you're
Absolutely.
attracting all that good energy, and you're running on better, so you're talking to better people, right? You're hanging around a better group of people,
That's
right?
true.
You're reading better books, you're watching better videos, right?
Absolutely.
Now
Yeah.
you're starting to get that energy, that momentum, and then you start really, you just pass that point, and now you're just going on all cylinders.
I'll be
I think
honest with you, guys. Like tonight, we both had such an urge to go to a card game and play. Like, my buddy, I invited him over for dinner. We've had drinks. It was a good evening, and then we're thinking, hey, let's just go shoot
Right.
$300 at a small game tonight. We both got good jobs. We're doing well. Money's coming in. But that's all it takes to slip off the edge again, right? Just 300 turns into 3,000, and
But what do you gain from that? That's
you don't
the
gain
thing. What
nothing.
do you
Yeah.
gain? We never gain from that.
It's true, man. It's
We
true.
just end up
good.
going back to where we were, and
That's
then
good
worse.
friendship. That's good friendship there, man. When
Yeah.
people really care. Now, you're in a battle though, right? You're in
Absolutely.
a battle. We're all in a battle.
I had nightmares a couple nights thinking about being in
Me
games
too.
and stuff. It's
All
crazy.
this week,
Yeah.
nightmares.
Yeah. You know,
And it is a frame. You probably, maybe all of us. There's a few people listening. There's the invisible men and the invisible women in the background also.
Yeah.
It really is, Jim. It really is about upgrading the software that's going on up here. I really don't like saying it like that, but it is a reality. It's like we got to upgrade and optimize. If we want to thrive, you have to optimize your hard drive. If you want to thrive, you have to optimize the software, and it really is. When I started doing all of these things, life hacks, and I made this statement that your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. That statement is so true, and it is so powerful that, again, if you want to convince yourself that you're not a gambler, you can actually convince yourself. Now, it's going to take work. You just can't say it 5 times. Well, I'm not a gambler. I'm not a gambler. That's called relabeling. That's one of the things that you do if you want to thrive. I'm kind of getting ahead of the game here. If you want to thrive, one of the things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to at least give yourself 2 new labels. And what do I mean by 2 new labels? And again, this is part of my call to action. I'm getting a little bit ahead of time. You got to label yours. You got to call yourself something. Okay. Either you're a gambler or you're a non-gambler. And there's no freedom. I'll tell you, the freedom that we have to be away from the casino, the bets, and all this stuff where people are getting sucked in left and right, man. That sharp hook is getting into the subconscious of people. Even tonight, there's people in the casino. They're not going to go to work tomorrow. They're gonna be sick in the morning. They're not going to want to wake up in the morning. But they're in the casino, man, tanking up, having a good time, eating at the buffet. It's still early, Sunday night. But come Monday morning, man, come midnight tonight when they start driving home, maybe they'll have some pocket money, right? Maybe they hit a jackpot for $2,000. What a setup. Oh, I won. $2,000, you're going to be back, man. You're going to be back. The setup is on. It's in your head. But we are here in a community preparing ourselves for tomorrow, bettering ourselves. Why waste our time when we can invest our time in a business, right? If we want to thrive, we can invest in our character development. We can build relationships, and we can stay in a community that helps us take actionable educational micro steps. Actionable educational micro steps. 1, 2 things. 1 or 2 things. Not a bunch of stuff. You fix 1 or 2 things, next thing you know, that spreads. That's why I say if you overcome gambling, take that power, dip into it, find a way, whatever you got to do, whether it's through mirror talk, journaling. Hey, hire a coach if you can find one, if you need one, if you can do that. Whatever it takes, you got to put that thing to work.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
it's going to overwhelm you again. And some people get started really good. They do real good for three, typically is 90 days, Jim. I believe it's 90 days. That's the typical time where after about the 90th day, your limiting beliefs really begin to kick in and the focus thieves really begin to kick in. 90 days, you're excited. And, but if you get beyond the 90 days, man, you can continue to thrive, man. And I'm telling you, that's what we look forward to is thriving. We beat this thing. I remember I get so excited because there was a time where I couldn't say that. Gambling had me by the throat and I was bleeding very, very viciously. I tried to plug up the bleed, but it wasn't working. And 2014, the plug fell out. I'm glad it did because here I am thriving. And I'm going to continue to thrive and I'm going to continue to improve the lives of people that want to be a part of my circle of influence. If you want away from gambling, if you want away from the cards and all those other things, I guarantee you, hang out here. This is the best place to be. This is the #1 community. I'm going to help. I'm going to support you to get there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining. If you want to, there's something else you want to share there.
John, you want to share a little bit of your story, man? Yeah.
For me, honestly, it was something that I picked up at a very young age, at around 13 years old. And for a while, I didn't gamble, but then it got really out of control. I started to make more money as a person because then I had more freedom to do it. and then it just like I said, like a black hole, it sucked me in, and then what would lead to a $200 game became a $500 game to 2,000. Like I remember my last game, which was this year, May 10th. I remember I lose $3,000 in 3 hours, which is basically like 3 weeks' wages. And I said to myself, I worked so hard for this money, and I just piss it away. And even if I were to win 3,000, 6,000, I would bleed double that in another game. So I said, where's my life going? So like you said, I was surrounding myself with so many people that were negative that I would, put gambling before everything. And I realized I got to stop before I get to the point of no return. So I just made a thing where I just got rid of all my cards, all my chips. I said, enough's enough. And it's like that gangrene, I just cut it off, and happy to meet my friend, and we just support each other. And ever since then, I've been gambling free, but I still get the urges, but I always say to myself, what do I gain from it? And every time I get that urge, I just look in the mirror and say, what am I going to gain from going to this game other than losing? And even if I win, big deal. It just keeps you going. Like you said, they hook you in some more, and then after eventually, boom, you're back in there again.
Keeps
and
you
it
stuck in the
keeps
matrix,
going
man.
and going and going. So I said, I have to make a point where you just got to say, no, enough's enough, and then go forward with positive thoughts.
That's right. And that's right. Jim said earlier, was it you, Jim, that said that you have to find a way to turn on your belief, right? Thriving is turning on your belief, basically. And you know what? Thriving, I was going to read the meaning of thriving. It basically means to grow. You were talking about a plant. And we all have a different thrive. What thrive means to Jim isn't the same thrive for me. What thrive is to the two young men here on the screen that are working their plan. Their thrive is different than mine. We all have. You have to find your thrive. You have to find it. And if you don't find it, well, that should be your pursuit, right? Finding your thrive. Deuteronomy, the proverb of the day, 13:4 here. It says, you shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. This is Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy means repetition of the law. Deuteros has to do with double, I believe, two. And again, I'm going to remind us that gambling is a lie. If you're here watching by audience and you're struggling with gambling, you're struggling with some form of addiction, you're at the right place at the right time. This is the number one community. And I promise you, even though there are no guarantees, but I promise you, if you stick with me, I'm going to support you all the way right out the door. Out into your new life. If that's what you want.
You got to be serious about it, right? You can't be on the fence. I mean, I've been watching you for about 4 years, Santos. And you know what?
Oh.
In the last 4 years, I've probably lost $250,000 from sports betting, casinos, and cryptocurrency stocks, you name it, man. I was playing the margin at one point. I'd make 50,000 an hour, lose double that the next. I mean, it didn't matter, right? Like it was just it was all life. And you lose the value of the dollar. It actually makes you think. You don't want to get up and go to work the next day, right? It's terrible, right? It completely just guts you as a human being, right?
You want to stay the covers. Like the
absolutely.
When you're sleeping, you want to keep that over your head. You don't want to get up out of bed.
Oh,
and
man.
Then, when the phone rings, Jim, man, you get nervous, like you shake when the phone rings. When somebody calls you or you get a letter, you crumble inside. You feel worthless, man. I
got that still.
Yeah, you're not thriving, right? You're not thriving at all. And only. Well, can you thrive? Can you be a gambler and thrive? Well, there's gamblers that are professional gamblers that thrive, but that's what they do. They've got tons of money and they can afford to lose and win. That's what they do. They're professional at it. They're mainly card players, because you can't do that with slot machines or roulettes or dice. You can only do that with cards. And there's professional people that make a living off of that. I couldn't. And so therefore I stay away from it. If I can't make a living with it, I need to stay away from it. Anyhow, Jim's been listening quietly. I know he has something on his mind.
Yeah.
Jim?
In regards to thriving, I think Mark's talking about the feelings you get when you mess up, when you screw up like that with that gambling. I know that Dave Ramsey focused on financial peace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, financial peace It's like having peace of mind, not having those awful feelings of where your money is going, and it's like if you can make those bills, etc. I mean, it's a feeling, right? We want that feeling. I remember someone said that courage is being afraid of the right thing at the right time in the right way, right? That kind of goes along with
Being
our ability to perceive where we want to go. um you know uh like Mark was thinking, hey, it's possible that we can go out and go gamble, but then you can stop and think about all those awful feelings
oh yeah.
that came about in the past. All those awful feelings you can just remember. And you know
Jim, I
what?
want to stop you for just a moment right there. You mentioned something. We have the wonderful ability to do what you're talking about. We have that wonderful ability to stop and think. But what's happened to us? Most people don't stop and think anymore.
Mhm. Yeah.
What's happened?
Yeah, it's. I think it's because of our emotions. There's some kind of emotion that's overriding our ability to go and stop and think, right? Because we want things now. Now we want to have the pleasure now. We want the dopamine now. I feel bad. I need to get the comfort now. And where can I find it? I can find it in the bottle. I can find it at the casino. I can find it in the drugs. I can find it in the food. Whatever it is, right? But I mean, it's like, being mindful, being thoughtful, you know, you can use, the power of thought to, what the power of thought did to you before that destroyed your life is the same tool that can empower you. I have that thought, It's like, well, wait a minute. I remember the last time, I went to the party and I did all that stuff. You know, I messed myself up. How did I feel? That was the most horrible experience I had at the day after. It's like that smells bad, right? That stinks. That's awful. I'm never going back to that place. I'm never going back to that place. And I think that's a great decision to make if you really think about it and expand that emotion, right? That disgust. That's pretty empowering to say, you know what, forget it. I remember the time,
Yeah.
I went down that path, and I messed things up. No, no, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
Simply, yeah, simply sitting down and just, even I in my book, the 15-minute mornings, Breakfast of Champions, I write, there's just simple book. But if you were to take 10 minutes out in the morning and just get a journal, right? And schedule out 7 days or 10 days. Right? You get your journal or your calendar and you set a time for 10 minutes. And for those 10 minutes, that's all you think about is what you've accomplished or your losses, right? You think about either your losses. You continue to think about your losses, right? For 7 days, for 10 days, 10 minutes, you're thinking about your losses. That's going to do something to you. But we don't stop to think. The only time we stop to think is when we're in front of a podcast or when we're in front of a coach or when we're in front of somebody that's telling us, hey, you're going in the wrong direction. We've got so much activity out there in the world, and you got to be where the FTs, the focus thieves, are out there. They are a dime a dozen, man, the FTs, and they're all over the place, and they get you. They do. They get me every once in a while. They get me too, right? The LBs, the limiting beliefs, they're hanging around. They wait for the perfect opportunity to spring up on you. You start something new, and all of a sudden, boom, an LB shows up. What are you doing, Santos? Man, you've never gone this direction before. What do you mean you're going to build character? You're going to exercise patience. What do you mean you're going to start a journal? You've never done this before. Your own mind talking to you. And we sit there and we listen to the negativity, and what do?
Yeah, Santos. I mean,
Most.
this is for Gabino. Gabino, is having a tough time with drinking. And, sometimes we think we are our addiction, we are our habits, right? And, that's a belief, right? I think we are our thoughts, So there's two sides to that, right? Which one do we choose? And that's where the thriving comes from, right there, Santos. That's the intentional choice, the intentional action to believe, the positive. I am not my addiction. You know, I am better than this. You know, I'm in a bad situation, but I can make myself better. Right? It's that thought. I think it's called reframing. The things
Yeah,
that happen to
yeah.
us, right? How do we
Reframe.
see what happens to us? Is it something that we can draw strength from, like you say, or is it going to bring us down? We have a choice, right? We have a choice. Okay, and
Mhm.
we have to choose. We have to stop and think, you know what? I'm going to think the best. I'm going to think the best for me. Look, there is no truth except your truth, really. There is no truth except your truth. That's the only truth that matters. And you have that wonderful ability to choose, the best in you, the best out of you, you know? And once you choose that, here comes the nourishment of the garden, right? Right? So that you can start taking the steps to thrive. Yeah.
Yes,
So, I
yes.
mean, Gabino, it's like, you know you're in a rough spot, but you're not your addiction. You're not that bad habit. You're not alcoholism. you know you're something great. you know you
We
start
we
thinking about the positive.
yeah, we're just caught up. We're caught up in the matrix. We got to unravel. Bottom line again, the software, right? You got to stop and think what software is playing in my. If you look at your patterns, it's very simple to see what software is playing. All you got to do is just study your life. That's why I always mention a journal. A journal is a logbook. A journal will help you. It's a magical thing. And it starts out little by little, but then you can add to it. You can do all kinds of different things with a journal, not just write out entries. We have to unravel all of this stuff that's going on here because you know what? It's getting worse, folks. It really is. If you look at the world, it's just getting worse, man. And all of that in your head, and you're cooked like a boiled egg, you know? Um, you guys see it this way? You're cooked like a boiled egg, ready to be eaten. If our focus isn't right. And we're going to be, those of us that are striving to move away into the light, to get out of the cave, we're going to face more battle. That's another reason why some folks don't want to stop doing it, because they know they're going to have to face battle. But that's life, right? If you want to thrive, if you are going to thrive, you're going to have to be willing to face your battles, and you're going to have to understand what your thrive is, because my thrive is different than yours. Right, Jim, your thrive is not my thrive. I'm not going to do your thrive. I might do it for a little bit, but then I'll get tired out. I don't know exactly what your thrive, you know, you have your thrive, but we can learn from each other synergistically. We can learn from each other. We can take a little bit. I don't change Mark's thrive. I don't change his. I don't change, is it Fiona? I don't change his drive. We all have a drive, but we need to be, number one, we do need accountability. And I'll tell you one thing, Jim, we're doing a lot of talk here about talk. It behooves us to change the way we talk to ourselves. It
Yeah.
behooves you to stop and think the questions that we hear, right? Sometimes, you ever notice that, Jim, that you're talking to somebody and they'll ask you a question and you'll give a knee-jerk reaction? It happened to me the other day and I hated it. I was talking to somebody and they started asking me a question, and all of a sudden it was like a knee-jerk reaction. And I said, after the conversation was over, I reflected on it. I journaled. I said, I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm going to be thinking when people are talking to me, I need to stop and think about what they're asking or what they're saying. Some things I might not want to answer. It's the same thing to myself. I ask myself questions. Be careful what you answer yourself, because you might answer yourself the wrong question. You might give yourself the wrong answer. And that's what we do. We can't thrive like that. If we're going to thrive, we got to have the right answer. We got to know ourselves. You mentioned that last episode. You have to work on thyself, right? Know thyself. And number two, because we're coming to the close of the program, you got to label yourself. Here's my call to action. Number one, you got to maintain peace. If you're going to thrive, you got to maintain peace. So that may mean removing your addiction, right? If you're going to thrive, it means maintaining peace. That is work. but it's fun work and it gets easier. Jim, would you say that your disciplines have gotten easier? Right? They started out a little difficult, maybe
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, like there's little things. It's all about little actions that you just build up. You write them down. I mean, like for me, I think I started flossing. Flossing on a regular basis. That was very irritating for me before. I'd use Listerine and all that stuff, but it's like, well, let me just floss every day. And it's just that's something. I keep the floss right next to the sink. After I take a shower, just floss the teeth. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's a habit. You know, I mean, make it easy. Make your habits easy. Like hanging around good people. Anything that accommodates you. I mean, like with Gabino, it's like make it easy for you to kick that habit. Go to AA. Be around
You
those
have to.
people, right?
Yeah,
Be
you have
around
to.
those kinds of people. Come to this show, right? Journal. Just have that journal right next to you. You know,
Yeah, if anything, you come to the show on Sunday, you're forced to journal.
yeah.
You never know. You might pick up the habit because once you start something good and you feel good, you'll be, and right, Marco? Little by little, actionable steps. Let's see. Unmute him.
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit of feedback.
Yeah.
Well, Marco, I know we've come into the end of the program. We've been discussing this topic of Thrive. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I really do. You guys fire me up, man. You guys don't realize how much I'm motivated by seeing you guys there on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah, you as well, guys.
I hope that you guys keep going. I hope that you guys never fall back. And if you do, get up immediately. Get up immediately. Stay connected. We need this community, right? I'm not looking for followers. I'm looking to build this community. And I want to reach 1 million souls. Jim, that's my goal. Mark, that's my goal. Laura, Gabino, and whoever else is watching, 1 million souls out of the fire. That's my new mission. That's my thought. That's big. I never thought that I would ever say that. Yes. And I may not even see the 1 million souls. I may not, but it doesn't matter. I'm touching a lot of people right now, and that matters to me. That keeps me going. Right? It's not about me. I'm just a little bit ahead of a few folks. And hopefully I can, throw back some crumbs, if you will, or maybe some big pieces, and people will get them and they'll go in that direction. Not follow me per se, but follow your own path. Because you can follow me, right? You can follow my ways a little bit, but eventually you're going to veer off because it's your personal thrive. It's your personal mission. We're just here, like my friend said, my multimillionaire friend said, we're like candles lighting a candle. And if you take a candle and you light another candle, it doesn't lose its flame. So I'm not afraid to light another candle because I ain't losing my flame.
Yes.
Question is on you. Will you let your flame die? And I say that to all of us. All right, Jim, we're coming down to the end of the wire. So here's my call to action. Number 2, grab 2 labels. Call yourself something new. For me, it was soldier of self-mastery. For me, it's philosopher of everyday victorious living. For me, it's the gambling annihilator or the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. Those are labels. Why do I label myself? Man, think about it. When you label yourself with those things, you got a responsibility. If I'm over here on the open airwaves and I'm telling everybody I'm the world's #1 problem gambling, I've got no room to fall. That is accountability. And you got to do it if you want to win, if you want to thrive. You got to put yourself in a situation of accountability. You must. There's no way around it. Ask yourself good questions. Practice asking yourself good questions. Believe me, the more that you practice questions, you'll get better at it. Because I've asked myself, sometimes I ask myself sucky questions and I catch it right off the bat. Why did you ask yourself that? That was just a sucky question. No, ask this, Santos. Have fun with yourself. Turn it into a game, if you will. And give yourself 2 labels. What's 2 things that you can begin calling yourself, even privately? Nobody else needs to know that. Somebody might laugh at you if they hear you calling yourself that. But then eventually you're going to share it with them. Again, accountability. What's 2 labels that you can label yourself starting from this program forward that will help you achieve and become or achieve your thrive? That's all I have. Jim, I'm going to give you a few minutes here. Mark, I'm going to give you guys some last words.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just remember that we are the masters of how we think. We are the masters of how we feel. We are the masters of what we choose and how we act. We are in control. Sometimes we think that um, we're at the mercy, you know, of the world, right? No, that's not. We can choose. We have the choice. We are empowered. We can stop and think. We can stop and ask ourselves, why am I thinking this? Why am I feeling this? Do I accept these thoughts? Do I accept these feelings? Do I have to choose going to the casino? Do I have to choose to go drink this alcohol, do these drugs or whatever? Right? Stop and think. It's like, no, I'm in charge here. I'm in charge. I remember, you know, the bad things that are associated with these choices. You know, I don't have to accept these thoughts about myself. No, I was been brainwashed. No way. I'm better than this, I can choose, right? So yeah, just keep that in mind, right? Be intentional with your thoughts, be intentional with your feelings, be intentional with your choices and actions, and you're going to thrive. You're going to start that path of growing your garden.
Amen. Flourishing, creating a nice harvest in time to come. Mark, want to share last words here before we get off the airwaves? Oop, I got a mute thing because we're getting a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, sorry guys. First time on here with this, but
Yeah,
like I said, I'm back into a good routine. I'm definitely journaling. I always try to watch all your videos, and even if I miss the podcast on Sunday, I'm off tomorrow, so I was able to be here today. But yeah, just getting myself back into a good routine, and setting, like I said, short-term and long-term goals, and just knocking them down one day at a time, and building up, and always in the back of my mind, remember, gambling is a lie, man. You don't have to go to it. You don't have to, be a part of any of it. We've all been there, and enough's enough, right? So
enough's enough.
Yeah,
that's a good tip. That's right. And gambling is a lie.
It is.
So
totally
what you just said, Mark. Gambling's
a lie, man. Totally is. Every aspect of it. It doesn't matter if it's stocks.
It's fun.
Yeah. At one time it was. Yeah, no.
And we have to keep that. We have to respect, gambling in a sense. Somebody said you have to respect gambling. Well, you have to respect it. Gambling is like a motorcycle, right? But the difference between a motorcycle is you can handle a motorcycle. The gambling is like a motorcycle out of control. You want to let it go. You can't hold on to it.
Yeah.
So, my friends, we've come to the end of another wonderful broadcast here, and I am plenty sure that you are going to walk away with something. I want to just say that if I am supporting you in some way, get a book, give one away as a gift. Right, we've got the little red book coming around there. And support this mission. Please support this mission. I'm asking you to support this mission. Why? Because I support the mission, and there's a lot of people to be reached, man. I don't know how long I have on this planet, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that I leave a legacy behind, because when I'm gone, there'll be system for people to follow. So remember to support me, support this mission, and I'm going to do my best to support you. If you need to communicate with me, you can go through SciTech. SciTech stands for Stay in Touch Email Communication. Okay, that's the little that's ringing down below there. You can send me a question. I respond within 24 hours or less, and I'm here for you. Okay, I'm cheering you on. I'm on your side. Okay, we can do this together. With that said, I want to thank all of you guys. Gabino, City by the Bay. We didn't get a chance to really. Worst thing about gambling is that it takes your energy. It changes your demeanor. It rewires your brain. you become life hacked. You become hijacked. That's the truth. Your mind is hijacked. So you're no longer the same person. Laura, welcome. Good to see you. Mark, thanks for being with us. Jesse, good to see you. Serious stuff. And who else was here? The Rock from Brockton. Listen, you're welcome to join me on the camera. If you want to come on, share your story, you got a question, you can come on the camera. Sam, welcome. Thank you for being here. DE, thank you for being here with us. Gambling will destroy your spirit, worse than almost a drug addiction. Yes. And Mark. All right, be safe on the road, truckers. I call you guys over the road technicians. Much respect for the ladies that drive. You know, truckers are very smart individuals. I don't know if they really realize it, but you got to be on top of your game to be a trucker. I got much respect. Carlito, thank you for being with us. I'm officially 3 months gambling free after 90 days. Congratulations on your continued progress. Not your past, but your continued progress. Congratulations on that. With that said, hey, we almost forgot about Jim Yumoto here. Thanks for being with us. All right, friends. Another broadcast over. But what we've learned here goes on. As I said, you've come here and you're walking away with something just like I am. If I'm walking away with something, so are you. I'll see you guys on my next podcast at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Making every day super fantastic, terrific, and over the top in spite of and because of. Thrive! Thanks, Jim, for being with us. All right. I mute everybody. And Marco, we'll see you, man. See you on there?
Okay, thank you.
Stay strong, team.
For sure, guys. Thanks for having me on, man. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys. Appreciate all of you guys. Good night, everybody.